Welcome back to Newsday. Thank you for staying with us. It's now a countdown time ahead of tomorrow's municipal council elections in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Altogether, the exercise to elect chairmen and councillors will be held in all the 6 municipal council areas of the territory. All right, Chief Correspondent Ferdinand Duroha is standing by to bring us up to speed with preparations ahead of the elections. Good afternoon, Ferdinand. It's great to have you on Newsday. Ferdinand, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We've seen a lot going on ahead of the highly anticipated polls.
Yeah.
Some candidates bowing out and all the likes. Please tell us what's going on.
Well, it's interesting, and well, we're just coming out from the INEC office where the resident electoral commissioner did brief us on the latest, and that includes the fact that yes, they have started moving sensitive materials. Well, just a couple of days back, we told you that they were done moving, those other materials, and then yesterday we were at the CBN where the sensitive materials were indeed released, and well, they hope that within 12 and 4, well, you will even see some of the vehicles coming out from the INEC office right now, going to those locations, especially in places like Abaji and, Kwali, places that are quite a distance. And it's all about being prepared for the elections. Well, tomorrow we will have elections take place in over 2,822 polling units and 62 wards and 16 area councils. Well, like it's like the local government elections across the country, but for the Federal Capital Territory, it is local council elections, and trust me, it's going to be exciting from exactly what we hear.
Interesting. Thank you, Ferdinand. And in terms of, candidates like Cynthia mentioned, bowing out of the competition in the last few days, 2 PDP candidates stepping down and basically alluding that they were doing this from Wike's direction or advice. I mean, how is that being seen? What role is the opposition playing in these elections, if any?
Well, it's interesting with that expression that you've used talking about opposition, and that's because it's very difficult to indeed qualify the Federal Capital Territory minister right now. Should we call him an opposition? And that's because in Rivers State, well, you want to say he's the PDP leader, and in Rivers State he's the APC leader, and then national level he's the PDP leader. But in the last couple of days he has been brokering some kind of resolution where we've seen some candidates step down, and for him, he says there's an underlining factor, and he says as long as you are supporting the president, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then he is in support of you. But trust me, we will have I think over 16 political parties, contest the polls, and so whichever way, we expect that they will field candidates, and for him, he already has his heart on those persons or whom he's going to support. Across divide, it looks like it's going to be APC candidates or all through, and so you really want to ask where he indeed stands right now as regards APC PDP. The other day we saw one of the candidates who did bow out, use expressions like PD APC, and things like that are definitely what might just get to confuse the electorates.
And well said, Ferdinand. Still on this matter, some might deem statements like what we heard a few days ago an attempt at suppression, if you will. But what are we see? What energy are you getting from INEC to ensure that things go the way they're supposed to, in spite of any threats or intimidation?
Well, for INEC, well, they've, put in some logistics, like they said. Well, just a couple of days back, where we did see the INEC chairman participate in that meeting with REC and then other officials. And it was a security meeting that also had the commissioner of police and then some of the other security operatives and agents from sister agency who are going to participate in this one. Well, from what we hear, well, there definitely will be more than 10,000 security operatives. So we want to believe that they should be able to police elections within the Federal Capital Territory. Well, also a couple of days back, there was this show of force by the police force, letting people know exactly the kind of arsenal that they have to cover all through the six areas where the elections will be taking place. So in terms of security, I want to believe that they have enough arsenal, they have enough men. Well, this is just an FCT election, so for no reason, should we begin to have issues containing compromise or perhaps persons trying to sabotage the effort. Well, we also hear that the EFCC will be on ground. Vote buying is something that has indeed played significant role in our elections, and it's not going to be any exception. And that's because when you take a look at the country, the indices have not changed. Well, people are still complaining of poverty, and in some places we've seen people sell votes for as much as 2,000, as much as 4,000, as much as 6,000. Well, you can take it authoritatively for me. We've spoken to some of the residents in the FCT, and the whole lot of them are not interested in the elections. But there's always this pattern of, in those other communities, like in those other local councils, like in the hinterlands, in places like Gwagwalada, Kwali, in some parts of Buari, you have more persons coming out. But then within the FCT, AMAC to be very precise, there's this lukewarm attitude of lots of persons who are mostly persons who come in, just work within the city center, not so interested with the local politics. But all of them creates a very good mix as regards the elections. I think from what we see right now, it's more followed than what we saw last time out that it took place in 2022. If you ask me, I think it is that Wike factor that seems to have brought in this zest, and something also about some other political parties deciding that yes, no matter the federal power that the APC is throwing into this, they also would want to put up a shouting chant. I'm talking about ADC that will be fielding candidates also for in the FCT elections for the first time, and then also Labour Party and others. Well, let's also not forget that in some places there are some issues as regards the Supreme Court coming out to indeed make some late pronouncements as regards candidates who are eligible to indeed, or perhaps who are the appropriate candidates. But speaking earlier today, the REC said that from what we know, traditionally, it is the party symbols that definitely will be on the ballot. So whoever it is, whatever situations that the Supreme Court or the Judiciary, will be making, it definitely will not affect their elections. So everything is set. We'll continue to see lots of activities happening around the INEC. You look around and then you see the Nigeria Police EOD boss, well, just behind me. Well, we hear that a whole lot of that will be deployed also around the city center and also in those other places where the elections will be taking place.
Very, very comprehensive breakdown. Ferdinand Duroha, thank you very much for your reporting on all things, the FCT council elections taking place this weekend.